Good afternoon. I'd like to start off by saying a very big thank you to each and every one of you who's come away from the sunshine or away from some homeschooling to tune in. So to introduce myself, I'm Charlie Cadbury, the CEO of Say It Now. And to introduce Say It Now, if you've not come across this before, we are a technology business focused around the world of voice assistants, and that I mean your friends Alexa and Google Assistant. This afternoon I'm going to be running through the role of voice assistants. So what are voice assistants really doing and what behavior they're driving right now? So people are using them to, on a daily basis, engage with them to do all sorts of things within the home, to run the dishwasher, turn on the lights, to set alarms, turn thermostats up and down, and control the music which is all around them. My head of technology actually even has a panic word that he can say if someone creeps into his house, and it'll turn all these things up and down, screech the lights on, and hopefully the perpetrator will disappear. Now, how do we think about voice? So we see it as the kind of next great channel. So in the early noughties, we had the rise of the web. And that was really, really useful. It gained great popularity, mainly because for certain tasks, it was easier for you to perform those tasks using a desktop or a laptop, rather than going into the real world, bricks and mortar, to get these tasks done. Now, when we saw the rise of mobile, that gave another level of utility to carry these amazing machines in your pockets, and that was allow you to do other things more quickly and easily, and there was a great place for those. And what we're seeing now with voice is this amazing kind of frictionless engagement for you to get things done or create purchases or engage products and services. And what happened in the world of web is it radically transformed the way that advertising works. So these great machines were created, in what we see now as, relatively maturing advertising products that people can really, really engage with. And underlying of all of this, you see this wonderful world of attribution, this kind of rich well of data, so you can really understand how people are moving along. What we see with voice is a huge opportunity for the advertising world and the audio advertising world to get the same kind of attribution, the same kind of data, and it's that I'm going to talk through today. So the way that we look at audio advertising is very clearly broken up into three main buckets. So we start with action, how you kind of derive some kind of response, then engagement, how you kind of engage with your customer, and then that underlying attribution, as I said, this sort of well of data which allows you to course correct and improve as you go. So for you who haven't seen this before, don't know where we've come from, so we've been working in the world of voice since 2015, first off helping airlines work out how to take bookings just using voice, then work with Marriott to help them put the first ever in-room concierge into their hotel rooms. And this is us winning the Alexa Cup, a global competition that Amazon put out to find ways to push forward the Alexa platform. And we're currently reigning UK and European champions. We lost to Barbie actually in Newark in 19. So what kind of work do we produce? So really deep, rich, engaging experiences like this project we did for Diageo. The brief here was to transport the customer up here to the Talisker distillery in the Isle of Skye. Now I'm going to do 3 demos this afternoon. This is the first. I just want to show you, or kind of bring you into this soundscape. Alexa, open Talisker tasting.
Hi again and welcome back to the Talisker Whiskey Tasting Experience. What would you like to do today? Begin the tasting experience or learn more about Talisker whiskey?
Tasting experience.
Which Talisker will you be tasting today? Talisker 10-year-old, Talisker Skye or Talisker Storm?
Talisker 10-year-old.
So it's time for me to hand over to one of our experts on the Isle of Skye, so you can get started tasting some amazing Talisker whiskey. If you're not sure of what to do, just say help at any time and I'll be here to assist you.
Hello there, I'm one of the Talisker experts from the Isle of Skye. I'm here to guide you through the Talisker tasting notes, along with helping you discover all about how we make our single malt Scotch whisky and explain why it has such a special
Alexa,
character.
stop.
Thanks for visiting. To discover more about malt whiskies, along with events and guides, please go to alexa.malts.com.
So
Bye and see you soon.
See you soon. So we can see now that as a very deep, engaging experience, much like going to get a tasting on the Isle of Skye. We managed to get it was actually the wife of the chief distiller, so a very authentic voice of Talisker there. The kind of results we were then able to deliver. So every single engagement is clocked, so we know when people enter the experience, that we understand the conversational paths they go down. We can see the content that they were most interested in engaging with, and we can see how long they stayed there for. We've been working with Diageo since about 2018 as the longest work happening now. But with this, we were able to deliver an average engagement of 7.5 minutes. We were able to tell that people were spending more time in a whiskey tasting experience and finding out the provenance of the brand. We could tell that out of the 3 whiskies on offer, that 10-year-old was the most chosen, and that people tended to engage with this at 7 to 8 on a Friday evening. No surprises there. And so that's kind of the bread and butter until COVID time. So about February, March last year, a very popular disease hit us all. It's not so great for our pipeline of business. And so we then saw kind of opportunity. We're like, okay, what can we really do here with our experience, our knowledge to date? And we started to look around. We really got some very deep insight as to how this was changing behavior. We saw that people were actually starting to trust these devices more. They were asking on a more regular basis for more personal information about what was going on. This was becoming the trusted hub in the home. People were thinking about buying more of these devices for the home, and we saw usage kind of skyrocket. And we know the kind of behaviors that are exhibited on smart speakers. We know that people use them on a very regular basis to listen to the radio. We know that people listening to streaming devices on streaming services on these devices. We know that people use them to engage and ask questions. So we looked around for the biggest problem we could see to solve, and we saw that the charity sector was going to be very heavily hit. There was going to be a kind of a 4 billion shortfall in 2020, and we wanted to test out two relatively new innovations that that could come together to drive engagement of donation experiences. So one was an upgrade in voice permissions, so to make it easier to donate, and the other was being able to target listeners who are listening specifically on smart speakers. So we applied for some funding in April 20. We got that awarded in June 2020. We developed a relationship with Global, who supported us in putting a very compelling offer together to the charity sector, whereby we were able to facilitate and bring some charities on board to run test campaigns. We very quickly were able to onboard the NSPCC, Comic Relief, Macmillan, WWF, and Crisis to run what was going to be a 5 months, actually ended up being more of a kind of a 9-month trial of running these highly targeted audio ads directly to people listening on a smart speaker at home to encourage them to donate. So I want to walk you through that use case now, exactly how it sounded. And so we started off at the beginning of September with a campaign run for the NSPCC, and this was the creative that we ran.
Maybe you're listening to this while baking, or tidying, or just relaxing, safe, happy. If only all homes were like this. But for many children, maybe even on this street, their homes aren't so happy or safe. A child contacts the NSPCC's Childline service every 25 seconds, and you can help them now by using your smart speaker. Simply ask your device to open NSPCC to make a donation. By doing so, you'll help the NSPCC to be there for children. Ask your device to open NSPCC now. Thank you.
So as someone who was listening on my smart speakers, the radio at home, I heard that, I'd become inspired. I then simply say, Alexa, open NSPCC.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
Alexa, open NSPCC.
Welcome to the NSPCC, the UK's leading children's charity, working to protect children today and prevent abuse from happening tomorrow. Would you like to donate, find out more about NSPCC, or learn about the pants rule?
Donate £3.
I heard £3. Is that correct?
Yes.
Amazon Pay will be used for your payment. £3 will be paid using Amazon Pay. Thank you. Your donation is complete. You're helping NSPCC protect children.
So that's gone through using the payments mechanic that I've got saved with Amazon. I get a receipt now that goes directly to my Amazon registered email address. What we're then able to see is this end-to-end attribution. We pulled that into our data studio, and we then matched up. We know exactly what to get the media report. We see exactly when the ads have been served, what time of day. We match that up to the engagements that we see of people activating the skill. We understand exactly the conversational path they go through during that skill, and then we can deliver a report on how many of those then kicked out to a transaction and then what that value is. So we see this very, very rich end-to-end attribution of exactly how that campaign worked. And so, you know, these campaigns started to head out, and we could see that, you know, the insights and the behavior was so strong. We knew that, you know, 1 in 4 users were using voice to search for leisure and travel. 40% of people were buying via voice, and 1 in 4 people were looking for information on retail. We also know that, you know, the foundations have been laid. Smart speakers have been the fastest ever consumer good ever sold, and, you know, they've doubled over the last couple of years. We haven't yet had Q4 2020 figures through, but we'll have expected these. At the moment, we've got about 30, 34, 30, it's about, I think it'll be 39 by the end of this month, % of UK adults having access to a smart speaker at home. And Juniper say that there was $20 billion worth of voice commerce in 2020, and that's going to jump to 164 billion by 2025. And that's, you know, exactly the kind of opportunity we are here to help people seize. So it's encouraged a whole load of brands to put voice assistants at the heart of many campaigns last year. There's just a few. I mean, only about half of those are ours, but, you know, really got people interested in how this works, how this all fits together. And it's been really exciting to work on this and to get people involved. There's been a really warm reception. You know, everyone wants to be part of this. It's you know, it feels like we're lighting a touch paper. And so to give you another little little demo now and a little kind of case study. So it's really nice when a plan comes together. Some of you may recognize the reference here. So we again put a compelling proposition together with our partners at Global. We took these out to our agency friends. MediaCom engaged relatively early, and they said, look, this is exactly the kind of thing that we've been tasked to do with our client Bayer, and we started off actually with Claritin, but we've landed on Barocca, and they, you know, are also been tasked to work better with other agency groups. So another working with an IPG agency, Mullen Lowe, on the creative side of things. They had came up with a really great creative concept, which they ran by us, and it, you know, just wasn't technically possible. And so we then kind of broke through and found out, you know, a way to make it technically possible, and then how to add some extra spin. So got our partners from Million Ads on the case to, you know, really make this a really rich, beautiful campaign, which, you know, everyone's expecting to win lots of awards about this, and we're expecting to work quite well. And I'll walk you through it now. It's going live next Friday, a week tomorrow. And here's the layout. So you are again at home listening to radio on your smart speaker, and you then hear an ad that sounds just like this. Excuse me. You hear an ad that sounds just like this.
Right now, in your area, the weather is chilly and miserable. You can expect back-to-back meetings until lunchtime. Oh, sorry. I always feel tired on days like this, and I'm plugged in. If you feel this way, try Barocca Boost with caffeine to improve alertness and vitamin B12 to help reduce tiredness and fatigue. Switch on your Wednesday morning. Say launch Baraka Boost on this device now to
and so that's inspired me. And so I then turned to my device and say, Alexa, ask Baraka Boost to order.
Would you like to order a package of 20 Baraka Boost using your default payment method and address?
Yes.
Here are the product details from Amazon. Your purchase includes Baraka Boost effervescent tablets with guarana, caffeine, and vitamin, pack of 20. The total including tax is £6. Would you like to buy it?
Yes.
Order placed. Your total is £6, including tax, and will be delivered tomorrow. Thank you for ordering Baraka Boost.
And so, you know, at that point, when it kicks me out of the skill, I then go back directly into the stream, whatever stream I was listening to before. I then get dropped straight back in, and I'm again listening to the radio, again listening to my streaming service. Again, much as before, we have this end-to-end attribution. We know exactly when the ads have been served. We know exactly the conversational pathways, and if that golden path doesn't work out, we know where people are dropping out, and we can optimize those for better performance, better conversions. And so there are three different ways that people are looking at these actionable audio ads. So first, you know, in terms of these, you know, the donation and the product purchase that we've been looking at this afternoon, those are kind of very kind of simple transactional skills that we have as a product. Secondly, it's kind of a respond now. So create lead generation, download a coupon, book a test drive, you know, really kind of garnering details, intent to purchase. And then thirdly, you know, these very deep, immersive experiences. You can take people to a different world, a different complete soundscape. And so, you know, right up to date, this actually came out just on my birthday, and it was global, saying, you know, there's this huge opportunity for advertisers in smart speakers. 56% reporting that they've been using them more in the since the last lockdown, and of those smart speakers, 33% of them have already bought products using their smart speaker. Now this is really important. So I spent a lot of my life building mobile apps and transactional mobile apps, and seeing this rise of mobile app trust and people's propensity to purchase through this mobile environment. This is exactly the same with voice. And what you really need to do is, much like the first time you order a taxi and Uber, probably using mobile, you didn't really think at that moment, but then it became second nature, and you didn't mind doing it again and again. I think the kind of behavior we're driving with all of this is getting people over the hump of doing something for the first time, you know, responding and then purchasing products, and, you know, engaging with this kind of advertising. And once they've done that once, it's enjoyable, a deeply rewarding experience. Something happens, they get that receipt from Amazon, they get something through the door, then they're going to do this again and again. And that's where we're really excited about taking all this. So what's next? Always with an eye on the future. Now, we've got about 3 minutes left, and I've been told to tell you that there's a slight lag on dropping questions in. So I'd love to answer any questions that you've got. Please drop them in now, and very happy to respond to them at the end. So where do we think this is all going? So this year, it's CES, which is the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas. Happens every year. It's the biggest, like, what's the newest products and hardware that's going to come out in the world. There's 1,400 exhibitors, and Alexa and Google were not there. However, there were 2,000 products at CES which had Alexa and Google Assistant built into them. And so this is what's really, really driving this kind of huge next wave of adoption. So you've got, you know, Amazon and Google have really kind of primed the market, massively subsidized products of their own. And now they're building a device environment where lots of different devices that you will be buying will all, you know, of course, have some kind of voice assistant enabled within there. That makes this whole idea of kind of ubiquitous access to voice you know, get pushed forward a lot quicker. It's actually a big battle between Amazon and Google. Who knew? And so the insight here is that by 2024, there's going to be more voice-enabled devices on the planet humans. You can see the kind of raft of hardware that Amazon are kicking out. Google have their own hardware strategy as well. And what we see this really kind of where we see the big opportunities are, it's slightly kind of out of home. So driving along, you can already buy an Alexa Auto, and if you don't have a voice assistant built into your car already, the next car that you buy will almost certainly have this built in. And ideas that when you're driving along and you hear something, here's what best rates, ask your assistant to open mortgage calculator now. Alexa, open mortgage calculator, and then you're in the kind of gentle back and forward branded experience, and you're finding out about your next mortgage while you're stuck in traffic, if we ever commute to work again. Or if you're walking down the street, if you don't have your voice assistant enabled in your earbuds today, you will do with the next earbuds you buy. And here you get 20% off only today. Ask your assistant to buy Call of Duty Black Ops. Alexa, buy Call of Duty Black Ops. So here's the way that we look at the world. As I said at the top, these actionable audio ads, the way that we look at this is in these three main tranches. So action, the really compelling message. If you want to know more to purchase, or say Alexa launch Broadcom Boost now. The engagement, real kind of two-way. We're humans. All we really want to do is to be heard. So you're really kind of engaging and involving the customer in this journey here. And then finally, this attribution, this wonderful well of data that sits underneath all of this, which gets you a real understanding of the efficacy of what's been coming through, and then exactly what to do that, how to change what you have already put out to truly delight the customers moving forward. Thanks very much for listening. I've got a couple of questions coming through, and in the meantime, we put a lot of this kind of insight and content out through our WhatsApp group. If you'd like to join that, please lift up your camera, point it at this QR code here. Right, a couple of questions. So the first one is, what do you think the potential is for brands using their own brand congruent voices on Alexa, rather than just a preset? So Alexa have released this. They've released an update recently which allows other brands to build their own voice assistants that then fall back to Alexa if they can't answer the right kind of questions. And I think they launched this with Chrysler in the States, who have their own. I can't remember the name of the assistant that Chrysler launched, but it's within the car, and you ask. It's kind of Bernie. You ask Bernie to open the windows and make it hotter and colder, and then you say, Bernie, can you put the kettle on at home? And Bernie will say, oh, I'll ask Alexa to do that. And you get this kind of double act of voice assistants talking to each other, helping you out. But when so that's one way you can do it as a brand. It's quite a significant investment there. But if we're creating a branded experience, then we can either get actors or your kind of brand voice to record any of the back and forth within there, or there's a multitude of different voices or synthetic voices that we can use that we can put on. So yeah, there's a lot, and there's a lot of evolution in that space as well. So second question is, would you say a young audience, college or uni students, are likely to be early adopters of voice commerce? Yes. So we see there's more engagement, there's more excitement to try out these new kind of technologies. We did a campaign with the University of West of England last summer, and what we did there is we actually got the students to record answers to kind of frequently asked questions about what's it like to study, what's it like to go out in the town, what's the sports facilities like, and again, very much like that Diageo example, it was a very kind of immersive experience where people could spend a lot of time kind of finding out a bit more, but in terms of kind of trusting that it's okay to purchase using your Amazon Pay details, the minute someone's done that once and the purchaser's experience through voice sends you an email, which would be exactly the same as if you bought a packet of batteries from Amazon, then you suddenly trust that voice commerce is a system that you know and understand. And finally, how can we get involved in future studies? What kind of studies? So there's a whole raft of insight that we're looking to get this year. We've got a big list. We've got a couple of students that we've done some work with in the past, but we're very, very open to learning more with other partners. We are a business which would prefer to partner with other experts rather than pretend we know everything ourselves. So the door's very much open. I'm relatively approachable. We've got a very friendly team. Please come and say hi if you'd like to learn more about what we do. Any other questions before we jump? Great. Otherwise, thank you very much. I really appreciate the invitation. I've really enjoyed this, and hopefully I'll see many of you in real life before too long.